And Claudia Nsono, and this is Culture. The search for true love seems to be getting increasingly hard by the day. Its scarcity has pushed some people to try unconventional ways to find the 21st century treasure. While some have resorted to online dating, asking friends and family for help in finding the one, others have taken to matchmakers. While relationship experts have designed ways to help such singles find their heartbeats, in Kenya there is an application for people who have unsuccessfully tried every other way to find love. But South Africa has taken the notch even higher. They now marry people at first sight. While unlike other reality shows, there's no audition process, but rather matchmaking workshops where prospective couples are handpicked by experts for Married at First Sight South Africa, which is a spin of Married at First Sight US and the UK. Relationship expert Paula Quinshee is one of the matchmakers of the show and now joins us via Skype from Johannesburg, South Africa. Fantastic to have you with us, Paula. Let's dive straight into the matchmaking process. How does it happen? Does every unmarried South African make the cut?
We used quite an in-depth process. There was a panel involved. We used a number of assessment tools to have a real deep look at the insights at an individual level. We looked at their psychological and personality traits. We then did a screening process and we excluded those people that we felt were not emotionally ready to be in a relationship. Done a lot of work from a self point of view in terms of self-awareness and relational awareness. We went through the initial criteria of the actual show in terms of age, demographics, previous history in terms of children, and excluded based on that.
Critics say that the show, which premiered on February 3rd, 2017, is a social experiment gone wrong. Is that true?
We have not had a huge success rate in South Africa. And that's primarily because our demographics is very different to other parts of the world. And some of those cultural nuances that we have to experience and deal with here and take into consideration here in our country is not necessarily taken into account or forms part of the process in other countries. So none of the couples that married are together. They all did divorce at the end of the show.
So after 2 seasons of the show, what would you advise people who are looking to get married?
It's very important to understand what you are going into a relationship with. How well do you know yourself, and at a much deeper level, because often we only look at the superficial stuff. So things like what are your values, your belief systems, your spirituality, your career aspirations, your hobbies and interests, even right down to your traditions and your culture. And then how are you going to blend that with your prospective partner? How are you going to work through issues that all couples in relationships experience? For example, how are you going to resolve conflict? And I'd encourage all couples to really take the time to get to know someone first before deciding whether this person is for you or not.
Well, it's funny how you recommend a considerable amount of time for people to get to know each other well enough before they say I do after marrying people at first sight. Anyways, thanks so much for your time, Paula. Meanwhile, in a country where there is a lobola calculation application, producers of the show said that they were willing to pay the bride price if a couple decided to stay married, but leave the negotiations to both families. And now, couples handpicked by experts do not go on dates. As the title implies, they meet for the very first time at the altar and head thereafter for their honeymoon. Upon their return, they move in together, and 6 weeks later, they have to make the very crucial decision. Will they stay married or will they seek a divorce? The choice is theirs to make. Well, I get it. True love is indeed hard to find nowadays. But quite frankly, I find that a little too adventurous. What about you? Will you marry a total stranger? Let me know on Facebook and on Twitter at Claudia Nsono. A big thank you to you all for watching. Until next time.